it's we're getting close to election time. It's getting kind of heated out here. I think people are a little bit more nervous, which is perfectly fine. I'm not dissing anybody to be nervous, but people like Laura Loomer. This is going to be a one topic live. It's going to it's going to kind of encompass Laura Loomer, who's somebody let me just get that out right away. Somebody I like a lot, respect. One of the few Zionists. You can count the Zionists that I like and respect on one hand, probably. Will Chamberlain's one, and Laura Loomer's another for very different reasons, obviously. But Laura Loomer's crashing out, and I can tell she's nervous. She's trying to put on that political facade like Donald Trump's going to win. They asked Laura Loomer, she said, who's going to win? She said, Donald Trump. I said it from the beginning. That's perfectly fine, but what we're seeing here is concern. And I don't blame Laura Loomer because people have tried to come for her. We talked about it yesterday in The Atlantic. There's another piece today. It's daily now. Ever since she came down the steps from flying with Trump to the debate, then to the 9/11 service, ever since then, there's been a pretty steady barrage of anti-Laura Loomer stuff. And we all know, Laura knows, and it's just like the election. I don't have proof, but it doesn't matter. This is where I think it's coming from. It's Trump's people themselves who are going to Bill Maher, going to all the Atlantic, this, Kamala leftist rag to give them information to go at Laura Loomer. Other outlets might not be as interested in that information. Fox News, even though that they're corporate, they might not be as interested. New York Post, not as interested in a Laura Loomer hit piece as The Atlantic would be. It's just the way that the viewers are, the algorithm is. That's our news cycle today. So they did the hit piece on Laura Loomer, and now the reality is setting in. Laura, Nick was right, and it's okay to say that Nick was right. What's wrong with that? We know Nick was right. Basically, everything Nick said about the transition team, we're going to cover that today just a little bit from Laura's standpoint. So it's not from mine or it's not from Nick's. This is going to be all from Laura's point of view, public on Twitter. And I'm saying this to her out of respect, out of love, out of admiration for the work that she does. That's the angle I'm coming from. This is not a diss track. Nick was right, and Laura is in a very odd and unique position. She is as Zionist or more than Ben Shapiro. She is an equal Zionist. The stuff that she said in support of the preservation of that country over there is as wackadoo or worse than Ben Shapiro. That's how Zionist she is. She had a debate with comic Dave Smith where it came out, but just look at her tweets, her positions. But the thing is, Laura goes hard. So whatever she's into, she's going to go hard at it. And she is full-blown Zionist. But the odd part about her is, I don't know, somebody tell me if you know of another person who is a straight-up Zio that gets treated in the political circles like they're a groyper. She is in no woman's land. She's Ben Shapiro, who, when she tries to get jobs and advance in the MAGA circle, the Trump circle, she's full-blown Trump loyalist. She gets treated like she's a groyper. Think about that. You are a Zionist. I've never seen. Is there another precedent? Can you name another super Zio? Not a little bit like super overt Zio. Like she has made statement like Israel needs to just wipe Palestine off the map. That type of Zio. And when you get outside of any circle and you try to speak positively about Trump or speak your mind, you get treated like you're an outcast. I don't know how she's going to operate like this. She has nowhere to go. And well, as far as I don't know who her allies are. I honestly don't. and she's very big. And I say, Laura, you should have never had beef with the Grapers. You should have never had beef with Nick in the first place. So come back, work something out where you just shut the hell up about Israel. There's concessions that will be made on both sides to ally together. We are at the point where we need allies. Because everything is so broken up now, especially because it's social media is where all this stuff is happening. It's broken up. It pits people against each other, and some of it is just highlighting differences. It's not even necessarily the algorithm or some magic trick of psyop that's happening to get people to argue with each other. It's more. I mean, some of it might be that, but I think some of it's just. It is highlighting fundamental differences. And Laura, you just got to admit Nick was right. Behind this, you don't have to do it publicly. Do it behind the scenes. Holla at him, smooth that over, and do a live. There's no reason. Who's her ally at this point? There's no one in D.C. Because what happened is that The Atlantic did a hit piece on her. Basically just the same old stuff, labeling her as a... They didn't say wackadoo, but, just labeling her as unhinged, kind of dangerous to be around the president, says stuff that's whatever. They're smearing her. So she's smeared in that piece, along with Alex Brucewick, but I'm going to keep it on Laura Loomer, who I support both of them. She's smeared on the piece, and who was there to have her back the next day? I haven't seen it. Who is it? Who is the person that has Laura Loomer's back? Maybe Joey Manorino? I mean, it's very few people. So she's got to figure that out. She's going to need to, she can't do this alone. Vassarus comes in hot saying, as much as it would be the greatest troll in the world to put RFK as the head of the CIA, he's still a Democrat. Absolutely impossible to happen. It will never happen. That would never happen. But just hypothetically, yeah, I see what you're saying. And yes, he is a Democrat. He's a lifelong Democrat. He's a scorned Democrat. It would be like what Trump's doing with RFK, and I'm going to show you. RFK is coming up because Laura went at RFK. And what's happening with Trump and RFK is similar to you're messing with the woman who really wants to be with the Democratic Party. So RFK is like, damn, the one I really love doesn't love me. So I'm going to go and kind of cozy up to where I can go. I mean, RFK is the one that wrote the real Anthony Fauci. How the hell is he warming up with Trump? On a health tip. None of it makes any sense. He's warming up to where he can go, and we'll talk about this, to pay off debt and do that kind of stuff. It's just smart politics, but it's not trustworthy. That's what Vassarus is talking about. And I have no problem making a kind of coalition or a deal there, but there's nothing that's been spelled out. I don't know what's happening. This Maha stuff, I don't know what that is. I didn't sign up for that. So you didn't explain that to me. I don't know why I should be happy about that. It's just basically trying to widen the tent is all it is. It doesn't matter what you believe, just widen the tent. And if you're going to do that, then just, I don't know, talk reparations, just talk everything. Just do everything out both sides of your mouth. If you just want to widen the tent, then just widen the tent. What's the dividing line? What's the restriction? There's no boundary. Spaghetti World Order, what's up? What's up, G? Having a good night? Hopefully you're having a good night too. Crazy. Spaghetti World Order says crazy. The Trump team is floating hit pieces about Loomer. Yep. It's twofold. They're playing the game after the election. If Trump doesn't win, we blame Alex Brucewick, we blame Corey Lewandowski, we blame the Groypers, we blame Nick, and we blame Laura. Quick and easy. If Trump wins, we blame Nick, we blame Laura, we blame the gropers, and they can't have no. Obviously, they weren't, but Laura, who had some in with Trump at least a little bit, they set it up. Either way, it's a chess move. I'll take no matter what happens. I know what move I'm making, and Laura, we freeze her out. She's a hothead. One of the things that they hate the most. I've never been in deep DC politics, just from my years of following this stuff. What they hate the most is somebody who's principled. It doesn't matter what their principles are. They cannot stand. It's like kryptonite to Superman. It doesn't matter if you're Zio or whatever it is, if you're a principled person, meaning here's my principles, I don't care who you are, either you fit with them or you don't, that person is extremely dangerous. That's your extremist. That's your lunatic. That's your verbal terrorists. And that's Laura Loomer. She is extremely principled. And just talking about it now, thinking through it out loud with you right now, I think that's why she's a Zio and Will Chamberlain. I think that's why they're Zios who I can respect. Because Will Chamberlain is not a Zio who's just for Zio's sake or just some zombie. He has, even though his principles aren't my principles, I respect that he's principled. Laura Loomer is very principled. Even though I don't like her principles in some aspects, obviously the Zionism, as far as the whole murdering kids thing, call me crazy. I'm not into murdering kids. But outside of that stuff, even the Trump loyalist stuff, Laura, why are you loyal to Trump? You've done nothing but rock with that nigga since 2017 officially, but obviously was never against him even before that. 2020 she ran, she didn't win, but Trump endorsed her. You've been rocking with him for a long time. And take a look at who Trump has surrounded himself with. RFK, who said nothing but negative things about Trump up until this Maha bullshit. JD Vance. JD Vance was the most full-blown Trump derangement syndrome guy out there. Still all on record, deleted the tweets and everything. The whole dossier on there is just Vance's anti-Trump statements. Who is he surrounding himself with? Susie Wiles, Chris LaCivita, and just all these other, Mike Pompeo's back in, Kushner's back in, and who's out? It would be one thing if they're all in and Trump was also like, well, Steve Bannon's in, of course, and Laura Loomer's in, of course. No. At least they did bring Alex Brucewick in and Lewandowski. I'm not as big on Lewandowski. I really like Alex Brucewick. I'm not as big on Corey as Nick and some other people are, for example. But you see the problem here I have with it. At least she's principled. She's like Trump, ride or die. But I don't even understand why she's Trump, ride or die. But when you're principled, then I can understand why you make moves. And I can kind of, just hypothetically, I'm not doing anything, but just hypothetically talking politics, you can make deals with somebody who's principled. You can't make deals with Lindsey Graham. You can, because his principles war in that aspect. But if you don't line up with him, you can't make a deal with him. Will Chamberlain, you can talk with him. You can have a real conversation with him. Laura Loomer, you can have a real conversation with her. You can't have a real conversation with Jamie Raskin. You can't have a real conversation with Adam Pencilneck Schiff. You can't have a real conversation with Nancy Pelosi. That's kind of the difference there. Lanita Ford, just stopping in. Appreciate you. Trump's team is smearing Laura Loomer. I haven't heard about that. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. There was an article in The Atlantic, and that's allegedly, because we don't know who leaked the information, but Laura Loomer believes it's Trump's team as far as Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita. The article said basically they wanted her out. The article didn't say that they got the information from them, but I mean, this is how politics works. The stuff leaks out and nobody in Trump's team really cares about it, because the only people in Trump's team that would be Trump himself and then those high ups running the campaign. So that was in the Atlantic. You can go to the live yesterday. I played basically the whole article, which it was a good article, but you can fast forward a little bit to the Laura Loomer part, and it breaks it down. It's basically what I said, but it breaks it down a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, she was hoping that something would happen. I mean, Caroline Levitt got a role. You see that? Caroline Levitt's like a harmless puppy. And, blonde-headed, blonde-haired, young, looks all right. I mean, not the, looks okay. And she got her role. And she's I don't know what she is, a campaign spokesperson or something like that. They all have these titles. And I would say Laura Loomer would be the perfect press secretary, because she's very knowledgeable and she can spin and she can talk trash. She would be the best of all time. I mean, that role is almost beneath her, in my opinion. It would be like Vivek. I said, Vivek, press secretary? That's beneath him. I mean, you would want Laura Loomer as chief of staff. But there's things behind the scenes in D.C. that the impression I get is that you can't really be an outsider. What would happen if Trump said, Laura Loomer is going to be my chief of staff? You're like, Lindsey Graham would put a hit out on him. I mean, it would be Marco Rubio. They would all turn on him. So, but yeah, she should get something. She's been ride or die. She's broken so many stories. She broke the Juan Michon story. I mean, she's broken so many stories, basically all out a one-woman army on the internet in the whole campaign. I mean, she's been very influential, millions of views, probably got billion views by this point, because she drop 1 million all the time, and they're still getting viewed and views and views between Rumble and X and all that. How much money would a campaign have to spend to get the press and the work that Laura has put in? And she's not doing it as an independent journalist, even though I think she's a great journalist. She's doing it as a Trump advocate, a Trump activist. How much money is that worth to Trump? I mean, same as the Dilly Meme team. How much money is the work that they put in on behalf of Trump worth? It's worth millions. You almost can't put a dollar amount on it because you couldn't buy it. If Kamala Harris wanted to buy a Laura Loomer, she couldn't do it. It doesn't exist. So how do you even put a dollar amount on how much Laura Loomer is worth to Donald Trump? Yeah, I don't know. Throw her a bone. But that's what I'm talking about. Nick Fuentes told her that ain't happening. He literally said it when they first did the beef. I did a video when that beef first popped off. I did a video where I used 11 Labs to do a fake AI voice of Laura. It's their real tweets, but I just got their voices to read the tweets. And during that time, Nick literally said, Laura, they're not giving you a job. You're tainted. He might have said you're tainted because of me. I'm not sure if he said that exactly, but he basically said, Laura, you're not getting a job because you're tainted. That I know for sure. So he already called it. Called it from a long time ago. So this is the video that I did. I called it Friend Odds. And this is just a taste of why I'm saying was right.
In this Twitter
so let's revisit this. I don't hear the right voice. Let me see.
debate, Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer discussed their support for Donald Trump as a political outsider and the impact of campaign donations from wealthy individuals, specifically Jewish donors. The tweets referenced in the debate are authentic, though the voices in the video, including my own, were fabricated using AI technology.
Donald Trump was appealing in 2016 because he claimed to be a political outsider who wasn't controlled by special interests and promised to personally lead the country to tangible victories. Does anyone still believe this is the case going into 2024?
Donald Trump is and always has been a political outsider, and he is not controlled by anyone. He needs money to win the 2024 election. Nick, I get it. You're upset that a PAC that is supporting Trump just received a $100 million donation from a rich Jewish woman. You can't make an argument based off of 2016 because Sheldon Adelson gave Trump $20 million in 2016. You had no issue with that. If you supported Trump in 2016 when he was funded by rich Jews, then you shouldn't have an issue with it now. Miriam Adelson's $100 million donation is $80 more than what her husband donated in 2016. Her husband is now dead, and I'm sure if he was alive, he'd be donating to Trump just like he did in 2016. I don't see why you wouldn't support Donald Trump when he needs all the money he can get to defeat Joe Biden's weaponized regime. Trump never disavowed you, Nick. Don't turn on him. We need Trump. We need to make America great again. Here's you in your own words talking about how you love Trump. What changed? Trump is the best, and you know it. We all need to support Donald Trump, Nick.
Oh, I absolutely support Trump. I don't support Lindsey Graham, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Kevin McCarthy, Rick Grinnell, Bill Ackman, Jason Miller, J.D. Vance, and Miriam Adelson. You clearly are angling for a job in this neocon admin, which is why you will never publicly push back.
So you see, Nick brought it up. Like, I don't think that's why Laura's doing all of this, but you would hope that you would get a bone thrown to you because you're doing as much work or more than any of these fakes.
I have pushed back on some of the bad actors who have previously surrounded Donald Trump. And I don't need to angle for a job. I already got the job. I was hired in President Trump's office on the spot because he told me, Laura, you're a lot smarter than a lot of the other morons who have surrounded me on a daily basis. Swear to God on my own life, that's what Trump said to me in his office. I was supposed to start working for him on April 1st, 2023. Some of those morons got angry and leaked to the New York Times.
So you get the taste of it there, where they went back and forth. More of it was discussed on the lives with Nick. But you see the problem here is Laura has these two conflicting principles. One principle is belief in Jewish power. She's fully into that. And then the other belief is I have to support Trump no matter what. And you see that in that reply from Laura is that she can't criticize Trump for the being kind of the money has been disproportionately this election cycle. He's not funded from people anymore. He's not funded by the small dollar donor like he was nearly as much in 2016. It's more by these power. So when it's distributed more in that way, then it's going to more of their interest than the people's interest. And Laura can't acknowledge that because she believes in those interests and she wants to do anything to support Trump. And that's the disconnect that she has. And it's put her in a position where she's going to get smacked down. She has nowhere to go. You can't believe in both of those things and get frozen out of the Trump administration or even the Trump circle. She didn't even do anything. She was on the plane with him. That's how crazy it is. In the article we read yesterday, they said Trump said, okay, bring her on the plane and just put her in the back somewhere. He didn't even try to bring her up like she was like some part of the campaign or anything. But they know that she's very smart, very savvy. Chris LaSavina and these other political operatives, Kushner as well, they know she's very savvy, and then she's principled, so she might be hard to control. So that they we don't even want her on the plane. I don't care if she's in the back of the bus like Jim Crow. It's too close to Trump is what basically the article said that. The article says Susie Wiles regretted allowing her to get on that plane. That the article literally said that was a hill that she thought she should have died on in retrospect. So that's the part where Nick was right. And Laura, and we all know that. Laura knows that now. Let's fast forward to RFK. And what's happening now with this Maha crap, I don't know what this is. But here's what Laura Loomer is seeing. Apparently, Robert Kennedy Jr. is now in charge of the Trump transition. So this looks like Instagram. I don't really mess with Instagram too much. It says nominees for the people. RFK Jr. wants your help in nominating people of integrity and courage for more than 4,000 appointments for government agencies in a future Trump administration. Well, that's kind of odd because I didn't know you were going to be doing that. How did this happen? All of a sudden, Trump has a lifelong Democrat making these decisions, saying that he's going to make these decisions. Nobody had a problem with this. I said RFKJ welcomed, Tulsi Gabbard welcomed, and even though I'm not happy about how this merger or this agreement or whatever this collaboration is going, everything RFKJ does isn't bad. Everything I've liked Tulsi Gabbard. I like a lot of Tulsi Gabbard. So this isn't even necessarily a diss on them, even though they're problematic in certain ways. It's more saying you've got these people welcome, J.D. Vance welcome, like I said, longtime Trump hater, Laura Loomer, longtime diehard ride or die supporter, ostracized. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. Especially after what's happened, all the stuff that's transpired since J6 going to forward. How do you have people who were against you during J6 as a part of like high up in your campaign? Obviously, whoever's paying the money is basically telling Trump what to do. That's pretty obvious as far as personnel. I said after the election is over, a reckoning needs to happen within the movement. And we talked about that yesterday a little bit as well. So that's how the day started with her questioning that. Joey Manarino, who is friendly with Laura Loomer, said, I hope he's on the team, but I think Lutnick is the head of it. Why do you hope that RFKJ is on the team? Why? I don't even know why he needs to be on the team. I don't understand that. So people are trying to defend this, saying, where did RFKJ write that he's in charge? Well, what did he write? He said he wants your help in nominating people of integrity. So what does that mean? Who nominated? That's not in charge? I mean, who's nominating? He's a part of the transition team since August. I didn't know that. Okay, is he? But Howard Lutnick is chair. Kennedy's role is to help get the 4,000 employees through, is why Trump started the transition team ahead of the election. What is that? That's not going against anything Laura said. Laura said he's apparently in charge of the Trump transition. Like, well, if it's not in charge, it's definitely something's happening. So looking back for Laura Loomer, I'm going to go back to her noticing now the RFK fundraising. So let's look at the fundraising piece of it. This is RFK right here. We'll play some of this RFK. That's not the one I want. This is where Laura started. This is where I say she started crashing out. When she saw this RFKJ piece here. Okay, so there's the Maha stuff. And then she says, well, so why is RFK saying on his Instagram he's now in charge of hiring 4,000 people in the Trump transition? Link appears to be a data collection and doesn't even direct to official Trump page. Yeah, he's doing his own thing right now with it. So I think Laura's questions there are absolutely fair. I don't know how you could think they're not fair. And then, believe it or not, the libertarians are going to get involved in this. But this is the clip I wanted to play right here.
There are fewer than 10 days remaining until Election Day. It's crunch time, people. So I'm making one last appeal for your support because this is an extremely close race and everything is on the line. If Donald Trump wins re-election with a strong mandate, then no one will be able to stop us when he empowers me to clean up corruption in the federal agencies, and especially our health agencies. You know what's at stake here. If we don't win this election, the Democratic establishment will consolidate their censorship regime. They'll turn the Justice Department against their political opponents. They'll make any meaningful opposition impossible in the future. We will be basically living in a one-party state. The worst of the establishment Republicans are already flocking to Kamala Harris's banner. These are neocons like John Bolton and Dick Cheney, who engineered the disastrous regime change wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and gave us the Patriot Act, the torture, the censorship, the surveillance that they love. They and their ilk have moved to the Democratic Party, where they continue to push for endless war. They're bankrupting our nation, they're hollowing out the middle class, they're threatening the planet with the terrifying prospect of World War III. Only one thing stands in their way: a populist movement that seeks to reclaim our nation. Donald Trump and I both tapped into that movement. Now we've joined forces in an all-or-nothing attempt to save our republic. So I'm asking you to join me in this final push. Let's show everyone that our movement is powerful and a united force. Every dollar you contribute today will continue building our momentum in key swing states where I pulled my name off the ballot in order to help President Trump win. And it will help keep our issues of health, of peace, of freedom of speech, of honest government in the foreground for the next Trump administration. Please stand with us again today and help put us over the top in this final push. Go to mahanow.org, that's MAHANOW.org, and make a contribution. I'm giving everything I've got, and I need your support. Thank you.
So you see him using the Trump imaging and all of that. There's only a couple of days left where people really care about this stuff, so you want to just milk whatever money you can. So that's why he said with 2 days remaining until the election day, it's crunch time, people. Every dollar you contribute will continue building momentum to get President Trump back in the White House and me to D.C. So in his video, he never said that outright. We'll continue building momentum to get President Trump back in the White House and me to D.C. So Laura Loomer gets triggered off of that, and I completely understand why, because she's like, wait a second. The question is, so Laura Loomer is working, and somebody asked it here. I can see how they're working. They're like, somebody asked the question, I don't see where it is right now, but somebody asked the question to Laura, like, why would somebody give money to RFK to help Trump get elected? That's what he's saying here. Every dollar you contribute will continue building momentum to get President Trump back to the White House. Now, I understand RFK is speaking to the Joe Rogans, the Tim Pools, even Bill Maher's to a certain extent. He's speaking to a different type of person, but he's saying building momentum to get Trump back. And if that different type of person wants to get Trump in the White House, they can just donate to Trump. So Laura highlights that and says, fundraising scam alert. None of this money that RFK is raising is going towards Donald Trump's campaign like RFK has claimed below. Now, he never said that word for word. He's misleading, though. He said it will contribute building momentum to get President Trump back in the White House. So basically, RFK could say, you paying off my campaign debt is helping to get Trump back in office. If you're watching this live, no, I'm not going to do that because it sounds shady. But I was going to say anybody could say that. Any random streamer in their basement, maybe one wearing a Super MAGA shirt or sweater, who just drank coffee to stay up, still asleep, still sleepy, who's going to be streaming a lot over the next few days. If you want to get Trump back in office, you can do some super chats. I think if you want to help, let me use the same verbiage he used. If you want to continue building momentum to get Trump back in office, donate to that bruh's YouTube channel. It's the same type of bizarre take. So that's why Laura Loomer's like, wait a second. Hey, RFK if you're an official Trump surrogate, why are you raising money on a separate platform that isn't affiliated with Trump? And why are you lying and saying this money will benefit Trump when it clearly says, when you read the fine print, it will be used to pay off your campaign debt from the Democrat primary in which you attacked Trump? This is paying off the debt from when he was running as a Democrat. So it's literally him using Trump, misleading you to donate to help put Trump back in the White House, but I just got some bills to pay. It's basically what it is. But that's what all the politics are, but it was misleading how it was presented. And this is the day after Laura Loomer gets pieced, and I don't see RFK having her back. So why wouldn't Laura expose this? Somebody said, Laura, why didn't you go talk to Trump about it? Do you not understand that they froze her out of the circle? I'm sure she can still get words back to Trump, but that's a problem. If you're going to block me, basically the Trump campaign blocked Laura Loomer in real life. They said, don't come back on this. You're not coming back on this plane. And I don't think that's really coming from Trump's heart. But if Trump is allowing these people to do it, how am I supposed to get this to I don't have any communication to Trump like that. Because to communicate to Trump, you got to communicate to the people who blocked her. Now, she might have a little bit with Alex Brucevic. I think it still has some connection to Trump. She can get words back. But why is that her responsibility when Trump's the one that froze her out? What's happening is Laura Loomer is separating from Trump, in my opinion. I think she will eventually separate from Trump. Because how many times can you be loyal to someone and they bitch slap you? That's not the vibe I get from Laura Loomer, that she really likes to get bitch slapped. We're going to see one day Laura Loomer come out and say, I'm done. She's just waiting for this election, and the aftermath of this election is going to be insane. So she said, why are you lying? This is deceptive fundraising. You're trying to exploit MAGA. This money doesn't go to Trump. It's not a Trump fundraising link. What's going on here? She got Team Trump. She got all the managers. She got everybody copied in on this. Here's a screenshot. Contributions to Team Kennedy are not tax deductible. Federal law allows individuals to contribute up to $3,300 to the general election. Any amount over $3,300 to the general election will go to the primary election fund. Team Kennedy will continue to take contributions for the primary election until all debt outstanding for the primary cycle are paid. That's the heart of her issue there. We're 2 days before an election. So Laura Loomer is not in a good mood as far as that. So she has some pro-Trump. She's never been against Trump. It's the other stuff. It's the other people. Of course she's going to be kind of feeling some kind of way RFK is getting involved. So she goes on here. Somebody said, I don't mind him paying his campaign debt. Why would I mind somebody trying to pay their campaign debt? It's the way he presented it. He is working for the American people. I'm sure Trump knows what's up. That's where my question is it really comes down to, does Trump know? But even if Trump knows, it's still deceptive. But if Trump knows, then I don't care really, because I'm not donating to it. Laura says how many seniors are being scammed because they think the money's going to Trump when it's going toward the debt of a Democrat. It's extremely unethical, and Robert F. Kennedy should delete it. It's theft. She's coming straight at RFK 2 days before the election. And I put the blame on this on Trump. I said it when it happened. If you're going to collaborate with Tulsi and RFK, then you need to explain what's happening, why are you doing it, what's the goal. All that needs to be spelled out. It's not spelled out, so there you go. I was shocked when I saw this. I didn't even know this. The libertarians are involved. I'm not. I like Angela McCardle there. I like them. Mises Caucus. I like all of them. This is not even about them. But let me bring up what Laura said. Laura said the fundraising scam gets worse. He says he's raising money to get Trump back into the White House. Not only does the money not go to Trump, it instead goes toward paying off the debt from RFK's Democrat presidential campaign, but donations over the $6,600 go to the Kennedy Victory Fund, which funnels money into the Libertarian Party to support their candidate for president, which is not Donald Trump, by the way. You'll hear the receipts in a second. Nowhere in RFKJ's joint fundraising committee does it say that any of the money is going toward Trump. Well, it said it's going towards helping Trump instead, and that's very vague. Instead, money from donations over that amount, $6,600, will go towards the LP Libertarian Party. See the receipts below? Also includes a video from the head of the Libertarian Party, that's Angela McCardle, Libertarian Party chair, admitting the joint fundraising committee funds from RFK are going to support the Libertarian candidate for president. That's a tough one. I don't know when that video was made because Chase Oliver is basically a dollar store version of Pete Buttigieg. He's their presidential candidate. This is deceptive. It's disrespectful. RFK should not be saying he's raising money to help Trump. He's raising money to pay off his own Democrat campaign debt. Despicable. And here we go with Angela McCardle.
Fundraising. We're about to enter into, if our people can get their shit together, a fundraising coalition with the Kennedy team. It doesn't mean Kennedy's going to be our candidate. It doesn't mean he's going to get an endorsement. It is a gentleman's agreement to enter into a fundraising committee, an FEC-approved committee, so that we can both make more money. It will fund the party. It will fund our presidential candidate. And if he doesn't want to take the funding directly, we will do things to support him internally. And no, I don't want to hear, bitter arguments and saying, well, if his campaign doesn't support us entering into this agreement, we're not going to fund him. That is petty and small-minded. I am going to do what I need to do to advance liberty and to grow this party and make it meaningful. And I need you as members, supporters, whatever, to trust my judgment, because I'm doing this full time. I'm doing a kick-ass job, and I'm the leader, and you elected me, and I am leading you, and I'm leading you somewhere good. Being able to do all of this in spite of just the train wreck of the last 2 years, right? It has demonstrated my ability to leverage something out of the two strongest political campaigns during a black swan event year, while we have a candidate for president that is very polarizing and does not have support of the largest voting bloc in the party. We're going to enter into a fundraising coalition that is going to support the national party. It's going to be awesome. We're going to continue with a strategy to chase Biden out of office, and we're going to maintain our good relationship with the Trump campaign, which is what we should do.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. That's the libertarian. I want to be clear, there is no problem. I have no problem with anything she said there. She is doing a great job from what I can see from afar, from the little bit I'm following. Very influential, getting money. She's trying to get money. They're struggling with fundraising for the Libertarian Party. But you see the kind of the problem that Laura has. Laura doesn't care about the Libertarian Party. She's not down with that. This is where it was. David was like, why would anyone send RFKJ money to support Donald Trump? It's a good question. So you can see Laura's still crashing out. So this is 2 days before the election. We're seeing this come through. 2 days before the election. And people are saying, Laura, it's a civil war. Laura, it's this or that. Viva Frei got involved. And they had a back and forth. Let me find it here. Oh, let's do this feedback. Somebody said, Cyber Atrocity said, unfollowed. You're called an influencer for a reason, Laura. 2 days before an election is not an appropriate time. So a lot of people have the take that she's right, but this isn't the good time. That's basically the take. So you're going to unfollow her because she's right. You don't like her timing. I see. People, this is what when I mean people are afraid of what's going to happen. No, it's the unknown. It's not even maybe even doubting that Trump's going to win or who's going to win. It's more the unknown. And Laura said it's always the right time to call out a scam. I told she has some principles and protect the MAGA base from a deceptive fundraising tactic. I don't want hardworking people to get fleeced. It's not my job to go along to get along. That's a Kwame Brown says that I'm not in the go along to get along gang. It's just my job to call balls and strikes and expose deception. I am not owned by anyone. That's almost like she's saying, you know, if you didn't want me to go at RFK, you shouldn't have frozen me out. And what the RFK stuff is not a huge thing to me. What's more huge is Laura Loomer is huge. And she's giving you hints. These are political hints that she's not going to always be down, in my opinion. She's not always going to be down with Trump. That's why would she say I'm not owned by anyone? She's not owned by Trump. Meaning not like slaves. He's not giving her paychecks to my knowledge. People should be happy that I'm calling out those. I can guarantee you he's not with what she's doing here. People should be happy that I am calling out those who are stealing money from Donald Trump. Unity isn't an excuse to steal. Unity is, I've talked about the word unity a lot. Unity it can be a very bad, toxic word, especially when you're talking unity for the sake of unity. I don't know why you would want that. Whoever has the strongest position you're gonna have to just basically bend the knee to them. That's what unity means. If you want to do a deal, you want to do a collaboration, that's different. That's not really unity. That's working together. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And that's an acknowledgement of somebody saying unfollowed where why do you need to announce your way out, basically? Not really necessary. So Roger Stone really, it really came. But now you see Laura Loomer, you see how serious this is. Now Laura Loomer and Roger Stone are going back and forth all of a sudden. Roger Stone said this is fault. RFK's campaign just dropped one of the best pro-Trump ads of the year. And a friend in Wisconsin who is an RFK supporter told me he got a call from RFK's campaign today urging him to vote Trump. And Roger Stone, I don't know if he's getting old or whatever, but he's not addressing. I just laid out what Laura Loomer's concern is, and Roger Stone didn't address that. So he said this is false. What's false? He didn't say anything that was false. So it just makes me wonder, is it worse than even I thought? Why would you even reply if you don't have any retort? So Laura replies and said, I have it right here in the fine print. Can you read? What's wrong with you? That's me paraphrasing. She said, the fine print clearly says the money is going to pay off his Democrat Party debt. It's right here. It's right here. We will continue to take contributions for the primary election until all net debts outstanding for the primary election cycle are paid. So it's accurate. My post is accurate. Laura says this isn't personal. Well, I don't know if I would say this is not personal, but that's what she said. This is showing people where their money is going so they know what they are donating to. It's the ethical thing to do. It's about more than ethics. It's about her place in this politically. I don't even know what that. Oh yeah. This is. I'll come back to that. This clip here is crazy. I'm gonna come back to that clip from Bill Maher and Jamie Raskin. Okay, somebody else provided feedback to Laura Loomer. You literally burned bridges with a lot of people, Laura. We all see what you're doing. What? I don't understand. What did you see? Do you understand the problem I have with these? How is that a retort? Meaning she's right, but she needs to play nice is what it is? She said, I don't care about building bridges. I'm here to build the wall. I will not hesitate to hold people accountable, whether Republican, Independent, or Democrat. If you want friends, join a knitting club. If you want the truth and care about protecting real Donald Trump from users and opportunists, follow me. I refuse to accept that this is the norm, singing kumbaya with the enemy of my enemy to lie on my name. Please continue to plant stories, spread lies, and come for me. It only fuels my fire. I'm putting everyone on notice. You know who you are. Don't say I didn't warn you. We all know there's a lot of people with a lot to hide. Laura is not in the mood. She was not in the mood. Well, she was in a mood. Laura Loomer is stepping on the subway train and she's doing the Daniel Penny right now. She sees some people who are on the train, kind of like RFK. This is figuratively. RFK's on that subway train talking wild, like I need someone to pay off my Democrat debt. And Laura Loomer is Daniel Penny right now. Come over here. The truth waits for nobody. Man of Steel said, you're a divisive fool. Laura says, the truth waits for nobody. People simply do not want to believe what is in front of their eyes. You will see that the same people who cry about division will be the same people crying when the snake stabbed Trump in the back during his second term. Nobody wants to practice accountability. Nobody wants to vet. Nobody wants to have hard conversations. They just want to cry and complain. Laura Loomer is a very good asset to have on your side. So that's why I'm kind of, I'm on the side of the Nick and the Groypers right now. It's the best movement to me out there. And losing kind of Laura Loomer as an ancillary type of advocate or ally is a loss. It's a loss. So let me go to here. I'm going to end with the Laura stuff on Viva Frei, and then I'm going to get to the Jamie Raskin stuff. This is going to lead us into the aftermath of the election. We know there's going to be chaos. Here's Viva Frei. Let's go back to the Viva Frei stuff. Viva Frei quote tweets over Laura Loomer and says, "You are your own worst enemy, Laura Loomer. You just can't help yourself, and it's sad because you have some talent." It's Viva is sometimes very passive aggressive on Twitter. I mean, I've said stuff like that because I say that about Brett Cooper, but I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't come across like that. You are your, yeah, it's just the way that he's worded this, it's not a good start. You were wrong on the car incident at the border. And I believe she was wrong on that one. Just the initial this was the one where the car ran into the kind of the border patrol stop or whatever it was in Canada. I forget where the border was, where it was at the border, but you said it was a terrorist attack heading to New York for the Macy's parade. Did she break that though? Because I think Fox, I think one of the main sources said that too. I don't know if they got it from her or what happened. It was an accident going in the direction of Canada. So it's going the opposite way of where she was saying. I think that is true that she got that wrong. You were wrong on Joe Biden having a medical emergency on Air Force One. That is not, I do not agree with that at all. Viva's wrong there. You were wrong on Joe Biden being on his deathbed. I don't know. How do you know that? I'm not going to say that. You doxed Riley Gaines for no good reason. No, that's not true. It was public information. That's BS. She did not dox Riley Gaines. I don't know what your process is, but you need to take. So those are the examples you have. That's what you're coming with. The car that went in the wrong direction in Canada. So what? The Joe Biden medical emergency. We have a 911 call. Now it might have been on a different day from the one she was reporting. I'm not sure. But we don't even know what happened on that. I'm definitely not giving you that, Viva. You're wrong on Biden being on his deathbed. I'm not giving you that. Who signed the kind of the resignation from the race letter when he was gone? I'm not buying that. You docs are out. Get out of here. You're reaching now. And that has nothing, what does any of this have to do with her comments on RFKJ? None. This has nothing to do with the substance of what she said. Just like Roger Stone didn't address it, he didn't address it. Why is he even commenting on this? I don't even understand what his interest is here. I don't know what your thought process is, Viva continues to say, but you need to take a break and reassess. See, I guess I'm saying some of the same thing, but I'm saying it from a standpoint of you need some troops with you right now. It's just Laura versus the world at this point. She don't have nobody with her. I don't know who's like rocking with her. She has people she's cool with, but there's nobody who's really like advocating for her out there. Maybe the Dilly Meme team. I don't even see the Dilly Meme team anymore. I don't know if it. I guess they all blocked me or what. I barely even see them anymore. Because I know they had beef with Nick, and I know for sure Brendan Dilly blocked me in McGillifornia, but I appreciate there are, and I have no beef with them. I 100% support the Dilly Meme team. I never had beef with them. I appreciate there are, but I brought them up because I know they're Laura Loomer friendly, but I don't know if anything happened there. I haven't really even seen the interaction, so I don't know. Viva goes on to say, I appreciate there are many factors to explain why you are where you are. Sometimes Viva's really annoying to me. Like, bro, I need you to be more direct. This is not a masculine post. Very feminine. Laura has more masculine energy, obviously, in her posts than this. But you need to understand that not only are you not doing the movement any good, you're not doing yourself any good with attacks like this. Well, that's why I say you got to define what the movement is. What do you mean she's not doing the movement any good? If RFKJ is misleading where the money's going, how does that hurt the movement? RFKJ is not even really talking to the people in the movement. Laura is. And then this is the worst line at all. Triggers me right here. When people say I'm praying for you when they don't mean that they really want to pray for you. I mean, who knows? I'm not going to, maybe he is for real, but it's not the right time to say that to me, praying for you. Godspeed and God bless. If you're going to do a diss track, don't just do the diss track. I don't need that. And Laura commented on that. She's like, bro, I don't need you to pray for me. Please don't pray for me. So Viva, people were in the comments there. Yeah, I think she just said, hey, I don't want your prayers, number one. And then she had another comment in here too. I don't know where it is. I can't find it in here. But she did the quote tweet. She quote tweeted basically the same comment. She said this is basically the same comment. Hey, Viva, can you go back to your own country and leave the politics to American citizens? There's a lot about basic American civics that Viva doesn't know. And when I hear Canadians talk about American politics, and I know they don't know, you can tell they don't know basic civics. It makes me not want to comment on foreign politics. It makes me hesitant because I'm like, what's really out there? It's hard to comment on another country's politics if you don't live there. Nobody wants to get their American political takes from a Canadian. It's like that with all of them. There's a bunch of Canadians that get involved. Lauren Chen was one, but she was more based. How about you go fix your broken country instead of taking up space in my country with your terrible political takes? She's one of the best trash talkers out there. She's one of she is very good. She said, aren't you Canadian? Nothing I hate more than foreigners who try to interfere in our elections with their nonsense foreigner takes. Kindly F off, and she says with malice, because he came and said with no malice. Don't read this with any malice. She was not right on that, but even if she was being right on one of four, whatever. But now you see Laura and Viva going at it, and there you have it. I'm going to go to this Jamie. You don't want to miss this Jamie. If you haven't seen this Jamie Raskin on Bill Maher, you don't want to miss this. Let me look at the chat for a second, and then we'll get back to that. Jordan Lott, what's good? Says, hey, libertarian brother. The truth is I'm a cool libertarian. Let's freaking go. This election is going to be crazy. Yes, it is. The aftermath, what's going to happen. People already angling for bets and the polling, and it's wild. the vibe is, the election is, to me, if it's authentic, Trump wins easy. I mean, that was the same for 2020 though. So what's in doubt is, are you going to see places say, well, hold up, are we going to see that we could see a replay? To me, see, that's the problem I have with it going into it. It's rough because either way, Jordan and everybody, either way on the election, it looks tough because if Trump is big on election night and they say, wait, we're not done counting, we know where that goes. I mean, we know how that goes. I don't know how they're going to do it this time. They're not going to have the same amount of mail-in ballots, but we know where that's heading, where they're going to try to head that. The next day, oh, Michigan, we found 5,000 more. Next day, oh, we saw 2,000 more. And then before you know it, you're like, wait a second, why is it 2 weeks later we haven't got this wrapped up? And then all of a sudden they say, we called Michigan for Kamala. Are we going to get a replay of that? I don't know. Usually things happen differently. But if Trump is big on election night, is that going to happen? If Trump's not up big on election night, then Kamala wins. So it seems like a rough kind of position. Miss Winnie says Eliza Cooney was a college kid who worked for the Kennedys and Bobby's River Company. RFK Jr. sexually violated Eliza on 3 occasions. I am not familiar with that. Is that the Eliza from... Did she allege that? Is that the Eliza from I don't know. Where is she from? I don't even know where she's from. Eliza Cooney is the former babysitter who worked for RFK Jr. in the late 1990s. In July 2024, she accused Kennedy of violating her during her employment. Cooney alleged that Kennedy did some stuff in the family kitchen. I'm just cleaning it. I don't know what YouTube allows or doesn't. So I'm a grown-ass man saying, oh, just not talking about it like a grown-ass man. When she was 23 years old, following the publication of these allegations, Kennedy sent Cooney a text message apologizing for any discomfort. I'm not familiar with them. Yeah. Yeah. Those are he said, she said. I don't know what to do with those. I mean, every politician has one. And literally every politician has this he said, she said type stuff. So I don't know what to do with that. Not until this was 2023. I don't know. I was reading that from ChatGPT sources. I don't know what that. I didn't check that. So thank you. But let's go to the Jamie Raskin stuff. This is fascinating. We want to talk about the election. What could happen? Laura Loomer. This doesn't have to do anything with Laura Loomer anymore. But she posted it on her page here. Is that the long one? So this is gonna be a clip from Bill Maher. Give me a second here. I want to make sure if I thought it was longer than a minute. I might even just want to listen to the whole Jamie Raskin thing because Bill Maher's show is on Friday, right? So this probably happened from Friday, or I don't know for sure. Because I usually watch it on demand, so I don't even know when it comes out. Overtime with Jamie Raskin. That was them on the Tim Miller. Oh, that's a whack panel. Jamie Raskin lets the truth slip. People are talking about it. Built real time from November 1st. Let me take a look. Wait. So they don't have it on here? So I don't see the full thing. Let me see if I can find. I think people are just playing the 1 minute clip, so I can do that. Let's see what this clip here says. So let's start with this one. This is not the Bill Maher clip, but it looks like he's been saying it multiple times. I've not listened to this one. I've seen it, but the audio was off. Let's listen to Rascal Raskins. He's really, really slimy dude. Textbook Democrat. Pretty much like a very similar to Adam Schiff type.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection.
I agree with that
simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center. So
I don't share the same interpretation, but I do agree the Supreme Court justices don't do anything. Very, very disappointed in their work schedule. But Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is known as the disqualification clause. We've talked about this because of the Colorado stuff. We went pretty deep dive into this. But let's bring it back. 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 Of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. That provision is the reason why we heard everybody in the news media use the word insurrection for a bunch of people that weren't even
people just listen to Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin in Congress has said, let people vote for Trump if they want. We're not going to certify his election anyway. So he may be elected, but we're not going to let him be inaugurated.
When did he say that?
This is like 2 months ago. You can pull up the Jamie
this the one?
Raskin. I think that's probably the one.
Play it, Rob.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do.
Am I back? That was wild. I have no idea what happened. Let me see if I have audio back. I just had to close down my browser. Whoa. That's not what I want. I opened up X and the homie Adam Francisco has a post saying Kamala voters are posting unliving threats over Reddit. If Trump wins the presidential election, I'm unliving myself. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, wow. I wouldn't even talk about that like that. That's crazy. So let me see if the audio is working now. I don't know what happened. I probably did something. Here's Mike Benz. Let's listen to Mike Benz. I hear the audio again. I think this is working.
Listen to Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin in Congress has said, let people vote for Trump if they want. We're not going to certify his election anyway. So he may be elected, but we're not going to let him be inaugurated.
When did he say that?
This is like 2 months ago. You can pull up the Jamie
this the one?
Raskin. I think that's probably the one.
Play it, Rob.
Yep. And then he said it again on Bill Maher.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
So if you go to my X handle and you type in provoke breakdown, you're going to see that he referenced basically they're going to provoke a breakdown on January 6th. Now, this is very interesting. So here you go. I think this is one. Right. Clear Trump win. This is the scenario. Now, if you go to the next screenshot.
And before we go there, I don't know if they know what's going to happen. I don't think they all know what's going to happen or who's going to do what. It's all like chess. If this, then that. That's basically chess. If I move there, what are you going to do, and back and forth?
you'll see what it says there in yellow highlights with the red highlight. Again, this was in June 2020, being organized by military, intelligence, State Department, and high-level political operatives from both sides of the aisle. Again, both the former heads of the both major political parties who were both anti-Trump. And one of the most consequential moves in their war game for how to make sure Biden was inaugurated, even if Trump was elected, was that Team Biden role played by no less than John Podesta, who would then occupy this very senior slot in the Biden administration, White House. One of the most consequential moves was that Team Biden on January 6th provoked a breakdown in the joint session of Congress by getting the House of Representatives to agree to award the presidency to Biden based on the alternative pro-Biden submissions sent by pro-Biden governors. This is what they're planning to do. They're going to make the argument that Donald Trump is disqualified under the 14th Amendment because of January 6th, and then they will do the exact same.
How likely is it they're going to do that?
I think it depends on how robust the consensus building has been for this.
Yeah, it just depends on, do they have the public sentiment to do it, and what happens during the election. I think it's just one of the tools that they might look at. They want options.
And how much infighting there is in the Democrat camp. I think that the ire between the Biden and Harris camp has disunified some of these networks that have sort of reluctantly given in to some of the recent Trump momentum. But it's hard to know right now because a lot of these tools would not be played while Biden, Harris is still the occupants of the White House. They would not, for example, deploy street mobilization protests to burn federal buildings or police precincts or put the country in crisis while the person they want to win is occupying the White House. So it's unclear how robust the infrastructure is underneath the surface because they're not going to launch the surface attack until Trump wins an electoral college victory. But this is absolutely what they're planning. And by the way, they tried this in 2016. In 2016, they got about 13 or 16 alternate electors to not certify Trump's election then. But that was 8 years ago. It's unclear how much more reach they've gotten into that, but that is what this legal network is planning, whether they can pull it off or whether it costs them too much legitimacy.
Though. It's not going to work because the Supreme Court, he's got it, right? Is it, 5-4 right now or 6-3? I don't know what this is not going to be done without Supreme Court saying, relax, guys.
I just showed you the case where the Supreme Court upheld it at the state level, though. And when you look at I have to look at it again. It's been a while since the Colorado stuff happened, but Congress does have the power. It is in there. And at the federal level, Jamie Raskin is talking about Congress doing it. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing than the state of Colorado trying to step in and disqualify Trump from ballot on the general election. The Supreme Court, to me, upheld, with whether it's right or wrong. I'm not going to be able to, I don't have this stuff at good memory and recall. I got to read it all up again. But with that one dude, 14th Amendment, what was it, New Mexico? Disqualified. What position was it? So the Supreme Court refused to hear the case. So in September 20, this is the same one I just talked about. How do you pronounce his name? Let me listen to pronounce his name. New Mexico District Court Judge. Coy Griffin. So Coy Griffin, I guess. They disqualified him from holding public office. What public office? What was the office? I mean, it has to be local. Otero County Commissioner. So in September, let me just recap this real quick to show the precedent. Because Patrick Bet-David is saying, oh, no, this is that bias where you're like, no, there's no way this could happen.
The Supreme Court, he's got it, right? Is it 5-4 right now or
cost them too much legitimacy?
Though. It's not going to work.
Because see, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? If you're not really, and Patrick Bet-David is following a lot of this stuff, and he even thinks it's crazy.
Election then, but that was 8 years.
Remember, they've arraigned the president 4 times, the mugshot, all that, raiding the president, all that. this would fall right in line with that.
Ago. It's unclear how much more reach they've gotten into that, but that is what this legal network is planning. Whether they can pull it off or whether it costs them too much legitimacy.
Though it's not going to work because the Supreme Court, he's got it right. Is it what 5-4 right now or 6-3? I don't know what the.
This is not a basketball game, PBD. Like, you think the Supreme Court is on Trump's side? I don't necessarily think that. I know Amy Coney Barrett isn't. And they shouldn't be on his side, but he's the one thinking that, oh, the Supreme Court got this. Well, what does the Supreme Court got? In September of 2022, New Mexico District Court Judge Francis Matthew disqualified Otero County Commissioner Coy Griffin from holding office as Otero County Commissioner. So at the local level, they allowed the district court judge to say you participated in an insurrection because of the 14th Amendment, Section 3. This decision was based on January 6th, from January 6th, because I guess he was there. I forget the details of what he was doing. This decision was based on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which prohibits individuals who have engaged in insurrection from holding office. Griffin's appeal was rejected from the Supreme Court. Wait, did they hear the case? Let me make sure I'm clear. Did SCOTUS hear the case? I remember it, but I just don't remember. I remember hearing about the case. I don't remember what happened. I didn't cover that part. The Supreme Court declined to hear Coy Griffin's case. You don't think that was kind of important to hear? What cases are they? You see why I agree with Jamie Raskin as far as like what he's just kind of outing them as being somewhat lazy. They've got staffers or whatever, their legal hand to do a lot of the drafting and editing and all that kind of stuff. Some of the most spoiled individuals in our country holding the highest positions. The Supreme Court declined to hear Coy Griffin's appeal regarding his disqualification. Kind of an important thing to hear. This decision made on March. So PBD, yeah, it could happen. Of course it could happen. They didn't allow, they allowed the district court judge to say that a local person could get disqualified for insurrection. That means the local judge they can say anything. They could say I'm committing insurrection. Because there was no trial. So there's no evidence, it's just the judge. So at the local level, this is how powerful they're interpreted. And the Supreme Court was like, nah, we don't want to hear that. The Supreme Court has set a precedent that at the local level, you can decide somebody committed insurrection. How do you undecide that? Can you undecide it? I don't know. Let me look and see if I can the decision be, I'm going to put undecided. That's not what I mean, but can be reversed. I'm trying to see, can this be reversed? Because the Supreme Court declined to hear his case, the New Mexico court's decision to disqualify him from office remains final at the federal level. Is it a federal? Why is it? I don't understand. Oh, because why is it talking about federal? Maybe I'm confused. Reversing this decision would likely require a new case with different grounds, legislative action, or state or federal amendment specifically addressing such disqualifications. You're done. It's that simple. So Colorado saw that, and they're like, okay, we can do that to Trump. But the problem is now you're not local anymore. Trump's running for president. So the Supreme Court did hear that case. We broke that down in pretty big detail. But here's the part that would happen here is the federal government. They've already set the precedent the federal government can do it. How I got to see, how would Congress decide, say Trump won the election? What's the process for applying Section 3, Amendment 14 and disqualifying him? I don't even know is it a hearing? I don't even know what it is. It's not a court process. It's just Congress. So is it like impeachment? So let's see what ChatGPT, and take it with a grain of salt. It's using Wikipedia, but it could be right. Let's see. Doing this live. If Trump were to win the presidential election, applying Section 3 of the 14th Amendment would disqualify him would involve a specific constitutional process. Section 3 prohibits individuals who have engaged in insurrection from holding office. However, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Trump v. Anderson that only Congress has the authority to enforce this provision. And my understanding, I just read it, that is true. And it shouldn't be there anymore because we just haven't removed it. Probably not by accident. Therefore, to disqualify a sitting president under Section 3, Congress would need to pass legislation determining that they'd have to pass a law determining that the individual engaged in insurrection and is thus disqualified from holding office. So they'd have to pass a law. So if they get it through, would it have to be signed by the president? This legislative action would require a majority vote in both houses. We know that in the Senate. Given the gravity of such of a measure, it would likely face, okay, whatever. It's important to know if this process is distinct from impeachment, okay? Okay, so it requires separate legislative action. So they would have to pass a bill. If they don't have veto numbers, would the current president have to sign the bill if they don't have a supermajority? Is it called supermajority? I would say a veto-proof majority. Yes, if Congress passed a bill to apply Section 3, it would require the current president's signature. Oh, my goodness. Man, this is going to be wild, man. This could be wild. This is going to be wild times, man. Because what's the makeup now? So you see, we're already in crazy land. Patrick Bet-David doesn't understand all this. It's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. It's just a matter of would they have the numbers in Congress? And the only people we know for sure who would vote against it are the MAGA people. What are there, 5, 6 of them? Man. And obviously, the current president is Joe Biden. Joe Biden would sign it, obviously. Wow. We're on the brink, man. We're on the brink of something. I don't know what it is. We're on the brink of something, though, for sure. That's really simple. Can we just get rid of that? Like, how do you not have a process to go through I don't even know, judicial process or something? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Keeping that Section 3, the 14th Amendment and that's not even the whole reason why the 14th Amendment is problematic. That's why when I talk about the greatness of the ideals of the Constitution, I'm always talking about the Bill of Rights. Outside of that, we get into a lot of nonsense. This is absolutely ridiculous. You can disqualify anyone. So could Congress disqualify anyone for any reason as long as the legislation is passed? Okay, it says no. Can't disqualify, not for any reason. Congress has specific constitutional limits. Congress has the power to enforce Section 3 if they've engaged. To disqualify somebody in this cause, they would have to demonstrate. No, you don't have to demonstrate anything. You have to pass a bill. They don't have to demonstrate anything. The bill could be a fraudulent bill. There's no checks and balances. This ChatGPT is off. That's not correct. The Supreme Court could review and possibly overturn any disqualification, which is true. That's what Patrick Bet-David was talking about. But no, I don't see how they could. The Supreme Court is not going to overturn that because they didn't even hear it, meaning that it was like, you guys, you don't even have anything here. They didn't hear it when New Mexico had their issue. And then Trump v. Anderson, the Supreme Court confirmed that it would have to be up to Congress. And if Congress passes the legislation, the Supreme Court's not even going to hear the case. Yeah. I don't know, man. This could be crazy. I don't know. With all those different avenues, I don't see how Trump comes out as president. I don't see it. And I hate to say it. If he comes out as president, he's probably bought off. It's probably because they bought him off. Let's see. Lanita Ford says, if a tie, it would be Kamala to break the tie. Wouldn't that be nuts? Yeah, it could easily be a tie. Jeez. It would be Kamala to break the tie, and she's already done it a couple times. It could be Kamala to break the tie and Joe to sign the bill. What's the makeup now? It's like there's Republicans have like a one-person advantage in Congress. Whew, this thing is crazy, man. Wow. What are the current Dem or GOP advantages number-wise in the House and Senate? What's the Senate? Senate is pretty much 50-50 now? Yeah, Democrats have 51? I forgot that already. So they have a narrow majority in the House of 8? That's more than I thought. Because it was dwindling because the gay guy, the drag guy, George Santos was out. And I thought when he was out, it was less than 8, but I guess it's saying 8. How many, I wonder if ChatGPT can do this. How many are closely associated with Trump? Like would Nancy Mace, somebody like Nancy Mace, would she vote? I don't know where she would vote. I guess she would vote for Trump, in Trump's favor, like not to invoke the insurrection disqualification. A House of Representatives, 202 of 220 representatives have endorsed Trump, so maybe it doesn't have a high chance. I didn't realize that. It's saying, at least here, I haven't double checked it, but it's saying via Wikipedia, approximately 202 out of 220 Republican representatives have endorsed Trump. So you look at the numbers, you would have 202 that endorsed Trump, and is it 435 total? So you would have, it would be 233 potentially against. But that seems too high. Yeah, that could be problematic. And that's even assuming that none of the 202 convert. And in the Senate, 23 Republicans have endorsed Trump. Wow. It is, I mean, to me, that looking at those numbers, it looks like at worst 50-50 he would be disqualified. Looks like a coin flip at worst. My goodness. This is the first I've looked at this like this in depth. I knew that was in the backdrop, but I didn't look at it and break it down to think about what's the probability of it. And not only the probability of it, it looks like the Supreme Court lined it up to happen. Not that they said that he should be disqualified. They lined it up from 2022 to say, when this moment comes, it's up to you guys. Wow. No. So Melly66A, thanks for the comment, says, can't it be proved that January 6th was not an insurrection? No. I'm telling you, no. I don't see that. No, I don't see that. And obviously ChatGPT can be wrong, but it's kind of showing you where it's getting its stuff from. I think it's right here. Let me put that in here. Melly says, can't it be proved that January 6th was not an insurrection? No, I already know the answer. I think I don't know, but I'll test it out. Let's just say I'm actually using ChatGPT now that it has this search thing in it. You could always search, but it looks like it's getting better instead of perplexity a little bit. Let's say Trump wins and Congress is considering 14th Amendment, Section 3, disqualification. And the question is, can it be proven that Trump is innocent of participating in an insurrection? I don't even know if that question makes sense because it's not a judicial process. It says applying Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to disqualify a sitting president such as Donald Trump would involve what are they talking about? It's not complex. It's just passing a bill. Section 3 prohibits individuals who have, I already know that, to disqualify Trump. Congress would need to establish that he engaged in an insurrection that would require substantial. No, it doesn't. That's not true. They could just, if they have to pass a law, they could just pass a law with no evidence. That's not a judicial process. In December of 22, that's meaningless. They're talking about the J6 committee. That's all meaningless right now. It's important to note that the applicant has been rare. It didn't even answer the damn question. They say to be nice to it because it'll do better, but I'm not in the mood. Determining whether Donald Trump can be proven innocent involves complex legal considerations. The answer is no. Key points, legal definition. No, because what you're asking me, which is a great question, Melly, is can it be just proven that he's not and we move on? No. It's not answering well. I'm just going to do yes or no. Sometimes you have to get this thing to just do yes or no because it's BS. I don't know why it's programmed to do all this extra. It's just it's like a weird version of woke. Yes or no answer. What the Oh my gosh. I think it's because I'm under the search banner. Let me try it again. I'm under the search banner, so I think it acts funny. Now it's going to do yes or no. Wow. You got your answer. So I had the search on here, so it acts funny. I haven't used this a lot, so now I know. Let's say Trump wins and Congress is considering this. Can it be proven that Trump is innocent of participating in an insurrection? The answer is no. I already knew the answer was no, but I just wanted to show it to you. Yeah, there you go. Lenita Ford says there are a lot of rhinos, so in actuality, there are more Dems, than Republicans in Congress. Yep, no matter what the letter is, it's clearly more. Yeah. But ChatGPT is right. You can't be charged for insurrection if not convicted innocent until proven guilty. No. So here's what's happening, One Truth. No, it's this simple. Let me just, I probably, because I'm thinking through this, I'm making it kind of convoluted. If Trump wins the election before he takes office, they swear in the new Congress. The new Congress can pass a law. Let me make sure I have that. I believe the time you can pass a law. The new Congress can pass a law that disqualifies Donald Trump. Now, what would happen? Would it be J.D. Vance? I don't know. Let me take a look. If Trump were disqualified. Let me see if it can work with my mic. I hate typing now. I just want to do it on the. If Trump were disqualified, would J.D. Vance become president? Who would become president? It says if Trump were disqualified under Section 3, 14th, it would be determined by constitutional and statutory rules. Gosh, this is complicated. What? If Trump were disqualified before inauguration, wow, the next president would be determined by electoral college procedures. If Trump could not assume office, the vice president-elect. Oh, okay, so it is. So it is, man. If you were disqualified after. But no, after it would have to be impeachment, though. If Trump were disqualified after, he couldn't be disqualified after under Amendment 3, Section 14, Section 3, could he? No, because he would have to be impeached. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Well, what's the point? Section 3 generally applies assuming office, yeah. So I don't know why they have that. This ChatGPT is off here. So your answer is J.D. Vance. I'm confused. So your answer seems to be J.D. Vance. Correct. Okay, it's just on some BS. Correct. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is designed to prevent someone who is engaged. Wait, what the hell? It's not answering my question. You're confusing me. If Donald Trump is disqualified based on Amendment 14, Section 3, I asked you if it was J.D. Vance, and your answer seemed to be J.D. Vance, but you weren't concise. If Donald Trump were disqualified, J.D. Vance would not become. I'm confused. If disqualified before Trump's vice president-elect. Oh, does it not know? J.D. Vance is his vice president-elect. What? The Electoral College would need to address the vacancy. Potentially, what does that mean? It would be whoever, if Trump were disqualified, J.D. Vance as the sitting vice president would assume the presidency. No, not after the. If Donald Trump were disqualified, I don't know. I'm confused here. J.D. Vance as vice president-elect would not automatically become president. What does that mean? This is if Trump won. Maybe it doesn't understand if Trump won. I'm confusing stuff, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I still don't know the answer to that. It doesn't matter because Peter Thiel endorsed J.D. Vance. Peter Thiel would probably lobby to get Trump disqualified because his guy would be president potentially. I don't know what the answer was there, but yeah. No, you don't have to. So let's look at this. This is big stuff here. Run Truth is saying, so you're saying you don't have to be guilty of it. No, there's no judicial process. They could say, I committed insurrection for whatever reason they want. All they have to do is pass a bill, like rename the same process as renaming a post office. It's the same thing. It's all opinion, straight up opinion. There is no guilty of it. Congress writes a bill. Congress can write a bill, and the bill can literally be a sentence, and they could say Donald Trump committed insurrection. That's it. The bill could be one sentence. You get majority House, majority Senate, it's a wrap. And if the president were Republican or Trump friendly, you would need a veto-proof bill, which is, 2/3 of each branch? Not branch, but each part of the legislative branch. It's saying he would have to be guilty of insurrection. No, he does not. That's wrong. Yeah. See, looking at ChatGPT, you have to know some civics. ChatGPT is putting bull in there. That's bull. I'm telling you, that's absolute nonsense. Let me show you. So, to evoke Amendment 14, Section 3, all it is would be Congress passing a bill like normal and the president signing if need be. Yes, for Congress to apply Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, they would follow a legislative process. That's it. You don't need to look at it. It's the same legislative process. Drafting the bill, president's signature. There's nothing judicial review likely. No, it's just the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has already said it's up to Congress. So this part is, they could change their mind, but it's the same Supreme Court that we have now. You see what I'm saying? One truth? It's not a trial. There's no trial or anything. It's just a bill. They just did it because of after the Civil War, they wanted to make it clean and quick and easy, and we'll pass the bill and say, hey, you were with the Confederate, you can't take office. Yeah, this is crazy. It's that crazy. Let's see here. He said, ask it how, I just did that. There's a delay, so I understand. Ask it how someone would be found guilty. It's not a guilty. You're not found guilty or not. Congress basically writes a piece of legislation that said you committed insurrection. There's no trial on this. At least it's not prison. They can't put you in prison. They can prevent you from holding office though, because he hasn't been inaugurated yet. After inauguration, it's impeachment. You can't do this Amendment 14, Section 3. That's how crazy this is. No, you're not being difficult. I want to talk through this. This is the first time I've looked at it this closely, and I'm kind of in shock right now. Let's see here. If they did have to pass a bill, yes, they are. Why wouldn't they? If they did have to pass a bill, Congress ain't going to pass it. Why not? We looked at the numbers. It's very clear. I'm not guaranteeing it would pass, but it's very possible. It is not impossible at all. One Truth Media Company says, I'm sorry for, no, not being difficult. I'm not worried about that at all. Let's talk through it. I'm just saying that you have to be guilty. No, you don't. I'm telling you, you don't. I'm not, there's no doubt in my mind. You can't pass a bill saying someone's, no, they're not saying you're guilty. Guilty is in a court of law for criminal. This isn't about sending anybody to jail. Congress can't do that. But because of the 14th Amendment and the Supreme Court agreeing with the 14th Amendment, that means Congress can say you can't hold office. That's completely different than saying we're going to put you in shackles and put you in a jail cell, in a cage. So this is not a guilty or not guilty thing. This isn't a judicial thing. This is Congress. There's loopholes all over the place. They left this loophole open, and there you go. Yes, you can. Supreme Court has already upheld it. Basically, through that case I told you, it has already agreed that Colorado can't keep Trump off because they're a state meddling with the federal process, basically, is my understanding of that. But New Mexico already did it. They already did it. There was no trial for that dude. Well, they did say a judge said it. So I don't know how that works. I guess they just said a state can do it however they want. But there is no judge at the federal level, so it's Congress. It can't go to the Supreme Court to make a decision like that. Congress, it is a judge basically, either hearing the case after Congress does it or not. But we don't have the numbers. Absolutely. Yeah, you could do it either way, but there's no numbers the other way. Like Lenita Ford said, half of Congress are just, they're Democrats. They're just, you have the Democrats who are the overt squirrel killers, basically. They're the ones that would say, yeah, get that squirrel, basically. And then you have the Republicans who are like, oh, you got that squirrel, good, but I'm going to pretend like it's bad. So they're all basically the same, except for maybe what, one or two of them? And I don't even know how different they are. The one would be Thomas Massey is different than most of them a little bit. I think he's overrated, but he is the best of the bunch. That's one. Matt Gaetz is, I'm kind of falling back off of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Matt Gaetz, you have to see who the numbers are. You have to see who's even in the new Congress. So you don't have the numbers to, if you don't have the numbers to stop it from happening, you don't have the numbers to do it to them. Now, are we seeing now why I said if you come to the poker table and someone cheats in 2020 and you know they cheated, then you come to the poker table again in the midterms in 2022. We know they cheated again. Why do you keep coming to the poker table to play? They're going to do something else. And this isn't even cheating. This would be legit. And Raskin is warning about it. Why wouldn't they? I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's frightening, but it also might be good to just wake us up. I mean, having Trump win and then going through this whole thing and acting like everything's okay when it's clearly not, I don't know if that's good. Let's see. To be guilty of something doesn't mean yes. Well, it doesn't have to be jail, but you have been convicted of something, and it's whatever the sentencing is. Congress is not doing any type of sentencing. They're not saying Trump goes to jail. They're just saying Trump can't be president per the Constitution. So what would stop Republicans from doing the same to Kamala? They don't have the power. And half the Republicans love Kamala. You just don't have the numbers. That's the only thing. Yeah, you could do it. There's a lot that Republicans could do. Like you look at Georgia with Brian Kemp. I've been heated about him allowing Fannie Willis to even do what she did. No punishment at this point at all. Brian Kemp's fine with it. He can do a lot. Governors can do a lot. I mean, Republicans can do a lot. They are. That's why people call them rhinos. They're Republican in name only. They're effectively Democrats. Lindsey Graham is a Democrat. He's a Democrat. Why would I even look at him as a Republican like he's on a different side than Nancy Pelosi? He's not on a different side. He loves Joe Biden. Can't convict with proven guilty. Without being proven guilty. Yeah. But that's not this though. We're not even talking about court here. Q says in this scenario, they tried to stop Trump in this way. It would create a matter of national security, civil war, and military would have legal authority to take over the government. No. I mean, I don't know if it would start that or not. My first thing is to say, if you go to violence, you've lost. There's no, you go to violence, you've lost. And I don't call defending yourself violence. So if you say, all MAGA patriots, let's move to Florida, and we want Florida to secede from the Union, that's peaceful. We're not trying to acquire territory. We want a relationship with Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee and California. We want a business relationship with you, but we're not going to be in the Union anymore because y'all playing too many reindeer games. We're out. That's peaceful. And then if you have to defend yourself, I do not consider that violence. I consider that defense. But what you're talking about here, civil war, what's that? What does that mean? I'm not looking for no civil war. I'm looking to be peaceful, just like how the country was started. The country, that's why it's so important to know how the country was started. The country was not started on violence. The country was started on peace. I have a right from God to separate from you. I don't want to take land from you. I don't want to have beef with you. That's the revolution. That was a civil war too. I don't want to have beef with you. I'm not looking to acquire. That's what war is, acquiring land. So if you say, I'm not trying to overtake any of your land, I'm just staying where I am here because I have to have a place to stay and I want to have a relationship. I want to negotiate with you, but I'm out of this agreement. That's not a civil war. That's me saying I want to get a divorce. So I don't know what you mean by civil war there. I mean, people will call it that if that's what happened in the South. The South is like, we out. We still want these niggas picking cotton, and that's just a part of the structure that we've got. Okay, so we're out. And believe it or not, I mean, I don't support slavery, but I do support the South's right to leave. They weren't trying to acquire the North, so they weren't being violent. So I don't know what this means here. And military wouldn't have anything unless there was some other act. There's a whole bunch of other safeguards, executive branch stuff, but the 14th Amendment doesn't trigger anything for the military. You're just trying to say the country would be in chaos. I don't think it really would. Tim was talking about that with Tim Pool, with Sam Cedar. I heard some other people talking about it too. And Trump got his ear grazed. Nothing happened. Nobody even cared, really. Outside of the rabid Trump supporters, and nobody cared. To this day, I haven't talked to anybody about what happened to Trump outside of maybe just a couple people who we talk politics about. It's not like random people are like, whoa, remember? Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. So it's just you're online and you're in the echo chamber with the few that do, but outside of that, nobody cares. If they remove Trump with the 14th Amendment, Section 3, 90% of this country would be like, when's the football game start? So why wouldn't they do it? There's no civil war coming over that, man. There's no civil war coming over that. There's no secession, no peaceful secession, none of that. Do I? Hell no. No. Oh, no. I mean, I'm maybe new to the channel. No. In insurrection, well, first of all, you have to define what that even means. I don't even know what that means. As it applies to the 14th Amendment, the only definition it is if Congress tells you it is, or your state because of the way Supreme Court ruled. So my answer, no, Trump didn't do no insurrection. And my take is, for people who've listened to the channel, I've said it a lot, but for J6, everybody should be pardoned or commuted. I don't even know the difference at this point. They should be let out of jail. Everyone. I don't care what you did. It triggers me when people say, well, somebody did this violent. No, I need to, if you want to parse that out, I need a full accounting of every FBI, every informant, anyone that had any connection to the government, what they did. I want a full accounting of them. If you think it's a security risk, we can't give you that. Okay, that's fine, but let everybody out because then I can't, how can I judge what happened if I don't know who did what? Who was entrapped, who wasn't entrapped? Everybody should be let out. I don't care what they did on J6. They should all be let out. There's no insurrection there. It's ridiculous. If the people voted for Trump and then Congress screwed the voter, people would go ape shit, crossing government to control. No, they're not. I'm sorry. I mean, you've seen what happened with North Carolina. Nobody cares about the floods over there and suspicions there. You saw what happened in Hawaii. Nobody cares. No, I don't. Why would you say that? Donald Trump got arraigned 4 times, took a mugshot. Nobody cared. Crib got raided. Nobody cares. Alternate electors who did nothing. There's peaceful people. Peaceful, tax-paying, law-abiding citizens who said just because of the precedent that happened in, I forget what year it was, 61 or something, with the Nixon thing, because if they didn't have the alternate vote electors ready, then they wouldn't have been able to do anything. We're here ready just in case the legal process goes through. They didn't hear the case in Georgia. They didn't hear Texas v. Pennsylvania. But just in case they did or something else came up, there are alternate electors. Because the other thing the courts could have said was, there's no other electors, so I can't do anything. They're going after those people. And no one cares. They don't care. I don't, that's not going to happen. I don't see how that happens. Nobody's going apeshit. If we haven't gone apeshit now, I'm not saying, I do not condone violence or anything like that, but if, not even apeshit, if we haven't said, Governor DeSantis, why are we not talking secession? They multiple attempts at assassinating Donald Trump. Nobody has any answers on any of it. We don't even have a government accounting of what happened the first time. And no one cares. So I don't know what will make people care. I honestly don't know. My take is everyone who does care needs to start a town somewhere. I would go. If that's what we were doing. I'm not moving now from Colorado to Florida or anything, but there's not much difference between these places. If you said in Wyoming, we're starting a new town, it's called Magaville, and we're going to have, this is our philosophy. It's just a small town, it's a rural town, we're going to try and build it up. I'd be like, yeah, that's where I'll go. If we've got enough, similarities in our viewpoints, if we're not Zionists supporting trash, and we are truly America first, truly original interpretation of the Constitution, close enough, then yeah, that's where I would go. That it's a small group of people. You move to a concentrated area, you reproduce in that area, you build the culture in that area, and you spread it out. I would be for that. But there's no one's going to care. Donald Trump took a mugshot and nobody cares. From a fat, pudgy DA in Fulton County. Corrupt as hell. People aren't even willing to say the blacks. They're not even really willing to call out the culprits. It's the blacks. The blacks are used, and no one even if, how is somebody going to go apeshit if they're not going to be able to call out the whole election swings on like 5 or 6 black cities? And nobody has the courage to say, who's even saying that, much less the Jews. Nobody's saying that. I'm not even taking the Jews to the election like this one, but they're not even willing to say that. So you're not really to go anywhere. And it's not even the Jews, it's the Zionists. If you're saying J6ers are guilty of insurrection, then say it for Trump. No, I'm not. No, absolutely not. Nobody has. But New Mexico did. New Mexico did it. Nobody cares. All these things happened and nobody cares. I think a lot of it is because of the online manipulation is very good. It doesn't let a lot of this stuff leak out. And I was listening to, it was such a great episode. There was a bad clip that came out when Tommy Sotomayor and Dom Luker were on with Fresh and Fit. But listening to the episode was great. Because I was like, Tommy Sotomayor is great. I don't know why this clip is so bad. Everybody's he was on there for like, I don't know, 2-3 hours. Of course you're gonna have a bad clip. So Tommy Sotomayor was fine. Dom, he was good up until that bad clip. But let me show you this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm saying nobody cares and it's all curated online. I think it's even more than that. I think it could be a honeypot, especially X. Let's see if I can find the clip here. It's probably right where I left off last when I was listening to it. Online is, I think it's, because, people online like Ben Shapiro or Jeremy Boring, they'll post some stuff like, I don't know, some pro-Israel something, and most people online either just ignore it or they hate it. So what that means is you get ratioed, which is just some stupid online thing where you have more comments than likes. But what my point is, they know the feedback isn't going to be good. So why did they do that? You know, I've thought about that a lot. Like, why would they virtue signal knowing that they're going to get ratioed? And it's clear they knew they were going to get ratioed because they're collecting data. They're collecting data of who's speaking out. It's a small minority of people. Remember, Israel had the pager scam, or there's more than a scam, the bombs with the pagers. They had that plan for like 10 years. I heard 15 years. That was layered for a decade. So X seems more free. You talk freely. I'm crashing out on this person, that person. And they got your name. They got your ID. If you're making money off of it, especially you upload your driver's license, your ID. You're already in that digital world where they know exactly who you are, where you live, everything. And they've got a list of people who are dissidents. And when the time comes, the dissidents get taken care of.
In your stuff, I know I'm listening to you talk, and I think this is the reason why I like having men that speak like this to me is because we don't all see shit the same way, but it almost looks like when each other are talking, we're listening. I
forget where it is.
It's cooking, man.
Yeah, want me to read some chats?
I forget where it is.
But
hold on.
It was where she was most comfortable.
Okay, it's right after this.
Yeah. Yo, you know what's crazy?
The walls we build up are the ones we get trapped in.
Yeah. And to your point, there's always a guy in her past that has that power, bro. Yep. Which is scary. So men want virgins for a reason. It's not by accident. But
yes.
But to find out nowadays is tough, though.
Bear with me. It's going to come up, I think.
If this bitch done had a bunch of, and then I'm big on the whole soul ties is real. Yeah. This bitch done had all this damn semen in her.
I'm going to keep this low until they're talking about just relationship here. I'm pretty sure it's after this. They talk about X. Yeah, he used to be a rapper, so he does a lot of puns and stuff.
It's cooking, man.
Yeah, want me to read some chats? Yeah. All right, I'll read some chats real quick, guys.
Hey, bro, it's Friday. We got 5K, 5.4K on Rumble. We got 300 in Castle Club, and what, 2K on X?
Oh, Dom,
I do have to be careful because they are wild on here.
I set the pin to my Myron Gaines.
Okay, go follow Tommy and Dom.
I'm listening to you talk, and I think this is the reason why I like having. Remember that's what I said. I said you monetize
okay.
You monetize it. It changes what it.
This is it right here. You got to listen to this. I've been talking about this too. So I tell people, X to me is actually fundamentally worse than it used to be. And probably the number one thing I would say is the way that it's monetized. Because the way that it's monetized is there's mechanisms to take the money away from you. Basically, community notes, for example. Oh, that's only for the big accounts, or if you have one that goes viral. That happened to Mel, friend of the show, Mel. A Crazy Village lady had a tweet that went viral, and they put some BS community notes. When you put a community note on there, which is it's just certain people in that use the platform that say this post is misleading or this post needs context. And if enough of them say it does, then they put a little scarlet letter on it and it's demonetized. If you get enough of those, your whole channel's demonetized. Right now, to my knowledge, Dom is demonetized. And the point is, when you monetize the content, then you have more control over the content than it was before. And Elon has not changed one rule in X to make it more free. Why is all of this happening? Because I think it's a honeypot. I think it's a trap. Even though I'm still crashing out on there, I think they're creating a list of people that they know that they need to take care of at some point.
Women say they're going somewhere by themselves.
Yeah,
we let them.
You're right. Like they come in our sports and shit where we trying to You're so right, bro.
Every time men are
gaming was ours once. Gaming was literally just our shit.
Yeah.
Women would not fuck with games, and now they're everywhere. They can't even play.
Actually,
We started, they follow it. And
Yeah.
and then because we let them whatever the fuck they have. Ain't no nigga up there trying to sell Avon. We didn't do this.
I don't remember this one part. It's right after this then.
Back in the day, if you play games, you were weird. What's wrong with you? Go outside.
They're talking about video games right
All of a
now.
sudden, you're making money. Oh, you're a man now. Oh, God, yes. Oh, my God.
I wasn't prepared to talk about this, so I don't have the
I'll
timestamp.
do with you. I'll help you build this castle.
Fresh, I was wondering. I was like, what changed for people to stop looking at gamers as lanes? I didn't think it's the money.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
You remember that's what I said? I said you monetize if you monetize it, it changes what it is.
Yep.
It is a different thing. If niggas was out just playing tiddlywinks, if the nigga was playing was the tiddlywinks king, and this nigga had a Bugatti,
Or maybe it was before this.
have a tiddlywinks jersey on this, because think about it. Women have WNBA. There are more women in the United States than men. But it was where she was most
Promiscuous bitch that's
Ray Winklevoss should have quit. Let me pass this down to somebody else. But he didn't, because you can't go into a regular job now or do something and get that same excitement. People don't get
and the fast money too.
Yes, the excitement. Y'all know the strippers, the chicks out here that be stripping. It don't matter how much money these hoes make.
Yeah.
She spend it as fast as she gets. Who's them? They're being trafficked.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is open. It is
For females that need to be roasted.
Yeah.
Their head a little bit, and then
Yeah,
they go out
shoot.
into the real world.
Can't find it.
You gotta like stay there for the whole.
they're thinking, and you was in love with this man. I know. I'm listening to you talk, and I think in women, that's backwards thinking.
And not only that,
The chip and the MVP. What the white man is the black woman. I've said this.
for females that need to be roasted.
He said, "Well, you say, well, I wanted it." So it starts to
Yeah, a lot
accept
of-
the
a lot of gay people-
responsibility.
My own free will. I'm choosing to do this. This is what I'm into.
So do you think? Okay, so I guess that's how like maybe the victims will cope. But like, what do you? As far as like Diddy goes, do you guys think he's? Because I mean, obviously he's been with a bunch of women.
Yeah.
I can't
Is
find
he-
it right now. But it's a great clip. I'll find it another time where they talked about my take basically, but he says it so much better where the monetization, if you monetize something, that's what it turns into. That's what it is. It turns it into how do I monetize it? And it changes the whole message, your whole goals, everything. And that's what you've seen on X. That's why a lot of the large influencers are kind of weird. Outside of Colin Rugg, who really, and Dom does the same thing. They're really just they take local news clips and just post it on X and get millions of views. So my point is, I don't see a way to even get more people to care. Since Chaz and Chop were an insurrection, yeah, but they don't. If somebody were, it doesn't even matter. You don't have to be involved with anything. They could just pass a legislation. They could say, because you have a YouTube channel and we think you crash out on Israel too much, then you're an insurrectionist. Marco Rubio posted on Twitter, senator, the other day. He posted whoever leaked the Israeli plans was a traitor or something like that. I was like, wow. He said something about betraying Israel. He specifically said betraying Israel makes you a traitor to America. He said, what if half the country refused to pay taxes in April in protest? I don't know. I would have to think about that. I would rather it be an official secession. I don't know what purpose that. I mean, yeah, that would be something. It'd be better than nothing. But I don't know if I like that. I wouldn't participate in that though. I would not participate in that because that doesn't. What is that? That to me shows a lack of planning, a lack of understanding. Because if you're not going to pay taxes in April, then why do you want to be in the union? If you say we're not paying taxes based by we're not going to be in the union, we'll pay taxes to the states or whatever we have agreements with or whatever, that's different. But I don't think that would be a good. It's not well thought out. Q was right. If J6 happened over possibility of voter fraud, imagine what could happen if they took away 100 million people's votes. But that's why they hemmed everybody. They're still hunting down J6ers like dogs, people who didn't even do anything. people who were on the steps and people who walked in staying in the ropes. Nobody's doing that again. That's not happening. There is not another J6 happening. It shouldn't happen. There's nothing in DC for you. So no, I don't think people are going to do that. People are scared. 100 million voters are not going to stay quiet if they overthrow our democracy. They stole 2020, and where are we at now? Stole 2022. Oh shoot, I'm gonna get. It's late. Wow. Wow. That last little bit went by fast. Wow. Because I remember last I looked, I thought it was like 1. Chaz wasn't insurrection because they weren't trying to overthrow the government. No, that you could call that an insurrection. Does it have to be federal level? Because that was local level, but that's federal too, I think. No, that could be considered. I mean, Congress could pass the law no matter what, but could it legitimately be considered insurrection? Absolutely. But I mean, I'm not necessarily against Chop or Chaz, though. I just need. I actually don't care about Chaz or Chop. When it came out, I did, but I wasn't as. I'm not well read, but I wasn't as well researched as I am now. I don't care about Chaz and Chop. I'm fine with them. I'm more concerned about Chaz or Chop was not a threat to me. The democracy is over. We've already let it happen. So One Truth says, so we should just quietly let them destroy our democracy. Let the Democrat do that for every Republican voted in office. I mean, it's already destroyed. I don't think. How does it come back? How do you come back from them arraigning Donald Trump 4 times? A complete affront and disrespect to the American people. All Americans. And then in particular, those who voted for Trump, supported Trump. And then you look into the legal cases and there's literally nothing there. It's all fabricated. One of the strong things I disagree with Nick on is Nick thought that there was something tangible there with the classified documents case. There's absolutely nothing there. That's one of the most simple cases ever. He was president. President can take whatever they want. People didn't know that? That's why there's this whole thing over the transition, because one moment you're president, you can declassify anything at anytime you want. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing with the classified document case. Nothing with any of the cases. So the democracy's already gone. It's already done. It's already gone. Right now we're living a facade. And it's not a bad thing. It's the country's gone for 250 years? I mean, it ended way earlier, but it's still in theory together for 250 years. And now it's time to have a peaceful discussion about, well, what's the next steps? And you got to you have to be able to kind of communicate to people you don't like. We have political enemies. So that's my opinion on that. Classified documents case thrown out, yeah. But all right, I'm gonna head out. I didn't realize it was this late. Got to get to bed. Figure out my streaming, work, and everything in the morning. But appreciate y'all. It was fun. Now I didn't really expect to go and do that, but it was good. I have clarity now on that Section 3 and what could happen leading into. That's important leading into that night. But if that were to happen, you would hear the more murmurs. Well, the murmurs have already started. He did it on Bill Maher. I didn't play that clip. I did find it, but no need to play it. Well, maybe I will play it on the way out, actually. Let me go find that clip and play it on the way out. It was in Laura Loomer's timeline. Especially now that we've kind of done somewhat of a deep dive on it, it will make a little bit more sense in this context. Laura Loomer says, watch. And I'm going to be out on this one. Democrat congressman and J6 committer, ringleader Rep. Raskin, Jamie Raskin, recently told, what does he have, cancer or something? I think he was wearing that wrap for a while on his head. Recently told Bill Maher that the results of the November 5th election could take months. Wow. And if that happens, Trump loses, obviously. And he blames one way or another. And he blamed the election process, saying the Electoral College is filled with all these booby traps where you've got a strategic bad faith actor like Donald Trump, and he'll use each phase to try and revisit the result. Naturally, Rep. Raskin went on to state that Donald Trump was going to steal the election because Democrats don't want to come to terms with the fact that Kamala is a terrible candidate. Let's just hear what he had to say. I appreciate you guys. I'm out.
A prediction date in the office pool?
Well,
because it's not January 5th. I mean, it's not December 5th. It might even be January 5th.
Right. Well, let's see. So by December the 11th, the governors have to render the certificates of ascertainment, which means it goes through the election process, the state settles everything that needs to be settled, and then the governors will deliver the certificates of ascertainment. And then on December 17th, the electors will meet, and then they will send in their votes. Now, this is a very arcane, antiquated system, as you know, to the archivist, to the national archivist, then who 1 week after that will send it in to the Congress.
Well,
so,
let's hope it goes that smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the theory. That's why I say, why don't we just have an election, and count the votes? So the Electoral College is filled with all of these booby traps where you've got a strategic bad faith actor like Donald Trump, and he will use each phase to try to revisit the result. I mean, is there anybody in the country